Hello, my beautiful friends. It's Amanda here, and today we're talking about some of my favorite things: Halloween and fantasy cosmetica, and eyeshadows, and candles, and new makeup. Fantasy Cosmetica, which you probably know by now, is one of my all-time favorite brands, is about to release their Halloween collection, which includes this Harvest of Souls palette and then 2 different candles. I love their candle, obviously, because I have one in my Fantasy Cosmetica collaboration. The Enchanted Autumn collection is currently available, so if you're gonna go take a look at this on the Fantasy Cosmetica site, maybe go take a look at this one too. As I have an active collaboration right now with the brand, probably pretty apparent that I'm a big fan of what they do. I stay excited to see what they're going to come out with. We have the biggest palette yet. Look at this. The Harvest of Souls palette has 16 shades. Just FYI, their shadows and palettes are magnetic, so you can swap them around, rearrange them. This one is no different. This is a magnetic palette. I love that. I think that makes the palettes and the shadows infinitely more useful and more valuable in my personal collection. Their Halloween palette, the Harvest of Souls palette, will be priced at $55 US. And then they have 2 different candles. I've been burning this one called Dark Secrets. This one is a sweet cherry and blueberry type of scent, which is a really sweet, cozy, comfy smell. I've been burning this one while I've been editing for the past few days, and I absolutely love it. They do such a good job with their candles. I like the crackly wicks. I like the packaging. I love the little lids. This one's cool because it has black wax. I'm just a really big fan of their candles in general. I have the other candle in this collection too. That one's called Lingering Souls. It's on the shelf over there. I haven't burned it yet. I really like to try out a candle for a couple of days to get a sense of if I like the scent, how it fills the room, how long it lasts, that type of stuff. So I've just been focusing on burning this one, but I do have both. I like the smell of both. They describe Lingering Souls, the other candle, as spicy, tangy apple and orange with a smoky, earthy nuance. Sounds right up my alley. I love it. I actually chose to burn this one first because it is quite different from Whispering Woods, my Enchanted Autumn candle. It smells so good. I love it. I love their candles. They do such a good job. I'm a candle girly though. I love a candle. I have them in like every room of my house. I always have them burning. I'm always going through candles. So I am very prone to enjoy a candle regardless. But today I mostly want to focus on the palette. However, I do want to mention that there will be a candle bundle where you can get both candles for $58. So that is a little bit of a savings. And there is a full collection set that has both candles and the palette, and that will be $110 US for all 3 pieces. I do have an affiliate code. It's just my first name, Amanda, and that will save you a little bit on most things on the Fantasy Cosmetica site. Coupon codes do not apply to collaboration items, but they should work on everything else. So you can always give that a shot and try to save a little bit extra with code Amanda if you see fit. Now, I do want to focus mostly on the palette for today's video. I'm going to do, of course, close-ups, swatches. I have these 2 different eye looks that I'm going to show you. A really sparkly, murky green type of look. This is right up my alley. And then I also did this purple to magenta, little bit of an ombre look. Just depends on if you want to be a unicorn or a bog witch, and I want to be both. Let's just start with a close-up look at the palette and packaging.
First thing we have to talk about is this gorgeous artwork on the packaging. This is so evocative and spooky, and I just feel like it's so highly detailed, and this is super cool. It's really beautiful. I don't have anything that looks like this in my collection. The graphic designer at Fantasy Cosmetica is insanely talented, and this is just a beautiful showcase of that work. I love that this is so in line with spooky season, but it's totally different. It's not on the nose. It's not jack-o'-lantern. Don't get me wrong, I love jack-o'-lantern too, okay? But this is so perfect for the Fantasy Cosmetica brand because this really has that Dungeons and Dragons inspo, but it still feels accessible and relevant to people like me who aren't D&D players. I do want to mention there are a couple of shades in here that you need to patch test. They keep their palettes completely vegan, cruelty-free and vegan, so some of the shades contain that pigment that can stain, and some people get irritation from it as well, although I think that is less common than the staining concern. This palette is more matte heavy. It has 10 mattes and 6 shimmer shades, and there are a variety of textures within these different shimmers. The shades Obsession and Immortality are their super smooth holochrome shades, and then Schemes and Ensnare are more of that thick foily metallic. Eternal is a straight up super shimmery metallic shade, and then Souls has a bit more of a transparent base. So you get that duochrome flip, but it definitely is more of a sort of topper type of feel to it. Just one more look at this artwork. I think this is so pretty and cool.
I am trying to figure out what type of looks I want to do first. And I'm really drawn towards these grungy greens and these really cool, dusty purples. I might do a green and a purple. I know that's kind of predictable, but also those are my favorite colors to wear. So I'm just really drawn towards those. I think the whole thing is beautiful. I love the way that it's set up in little quads, very easy little quads, but also the top half of the palette and the bottom half of the palette are really nice little 8 pans as well. They're very, very clever in the way that they lay out their palettes to make them visually appealing and user friendly. So I think I'm going to do these little quads for my eye looks. I know that I should push myself and do a blue look, but I don't want to. I kind of want to stick with what I'm initially attracted to today. But I'll definitely do more looks with this and do maybe like a very green and blue eye look as well. But today I think a green and a purple are where I'm thriving, where I'm feeling inspired.
I did want to quickly mention because I put it on the screen at the beginning of the video, but as I was editing, I realized I failed to tell you the launch date and time. So this will be available on Tuesday, October 15th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So you may want to check your time zones. This will be on the Fantasy Cosmetica site for sure. I'm not positive if this will be available through their European and Canadian retailers. So I'm going to double check that. I'm going to reach out to Fantasy Cosmetica and see if this will be at I Feel Beautiful for Canada and Monolith for Europe. It probably will be. They do a really good job of trying to make their palettes and their releases in general as available and affordable for their customers as possible. The palette's 55, the candles are 30 each or 58 for both, and then the full collection set is 110, and that will have free shipping for US customers for the full collection set too. Just want to mention that since I have that information. Now, a couple of interesting points about this palette before I tell you about the performance. There were two shade names in here that I was not familiar with. So I did the Googling for you just in case you are not a D&D player. I am not, although my child is interested in learning, so I may become a D&D semi aficionado if he starts playing. But I did not know what lich and phylactery meant, so I looked it up just so that you can skip that step. Lich is a undead magic person, magical undead person. A lot of the time they're looking for like immortality. So it makes sense in the context of this particular palette. And phylactery actually has a real world meaning too. It's a religious thing. But in the context of this palette, I'm certain this is a reference to the D&D use of the word, and it's basically similar to a horcrux from my little limited understanding, limited research. It's sort of like a container for a soul. So, similar to a Horcrux, if you know Harry Potter, that's sort of a touchstone for you. That is my new fun fact for the day. Because I did these two different eye looks, I was able to use a lot of the shadows, and I have to say, I was happy with the performance. I do think that these look more impressive on the eye than they do in swatch, particularly the light purple matte and the light blue matte shades. But the overall color payoff, the blendability, and I think probably most importantly, the wear time has been really successful for me, at least on my particular eyeballs. And I think that the shimmers are so beautiful in this palette. They are just a variety of textures. Each one feels well suited to the matte shades. I love the variety that I feel like I can get from the different shade combinations. This is overall quite a colorful palette. There's not a lot of neutral breather type moments, but because these palettes are magnetic, you can easily add a couple of neutrals in here if you wanted to. When I travel, for example, I like to have a little mixture of colors and neutrals. So I can see myself taking out the bottom half of this palette and replacing it with some of my Enchanted Autumn singles and really curating the perfect little not quite colorful, not quite neutral palette for myself. Let me know if you want to see that because I think that would be a really fun video. But in my opinion, the shimmers in this palette are just really the star of the show. I like the colors overall in general. The performance overall is great, and the shade selection feels really thoughtful and useful. But for me, I am so drawn towards these super intense shimmery shades, and that's what I feel like I'm gravitating towards and most impressed by overall. I am a little sparkle gremlin though, so I don't think anybody is the least bit surprised by that opinion. Now I want to show you the swatches of this palette. I did break it up into two sets of swatches so that you can really see the individual colors and how they look on the skin. Now the top row is a finger swatch and then the bottom row is the exact same shade swatched with a flat eyeshadow brush. I don't use any primer, I don't dampen my brush or anything like that. You get to see these applied with a primer in the tutorial portion, so I'm just trying to show you the widest variety of swatches so that you can get a really good in-depth look at whatever it is I'm reviewing. I did want to do some comparisons for this palette, but I did it a little bit differently this time because I couldn't think of a great, useful one-to-one palette. This is just truly pretty unique in my entire collection. So what I did was go through my entire Fantasy Cosmetica palette collection, and I did a one-to-one with whichever shade I thought was the closest or most comparable, at least to the naked eye. I could probably go through and do a second round of these and find at least somewhat decent comparisons. But I thought that especially this would be useful for those of you who want a couple of these shades, but not necessarily the whole palette. Here, you might be able to find something suitable already existing within your own Fantasy Cosmetica collection. And if there are any other comparisons you want to see, just let me know in the comments, and maybe I can make a YouTube short or a reel or a TikTok or something with some more comparisons if you think that would be helpful. Just leave your suggestions down in the comments, and I appreciate your input. I really want to make videos that are helpful and high information for you, so hopefully you can make the best possible for your own beauty budget.
Probably no surprise. I think this is super duper beautiful. I love the storytelling of the packaging. I love this big giant mirror. I love that the shadows are magnetic and the palette can be rearranged and reused and swapped out. I love the color story. Obviously, we're hitting on a lot of my favorite colors because my favorite eyeshadow colors to wear are green and purple, and this palette has a ton of green and purple. And coming from somebody who is not a pink and blue type of person, I actually love this really berry toned magenta. I love the way it works with the other shadows in here. I find it really approachable from the standpoint of somebody who is not typically gravitating towards a brighter pink magenta type of color. And these blues, especially the shimmers and this really rich, deep, dark navy matte shade, are just stunning. They play well with the other colors in the palette too, especially these greens right here. I think the colors are beautiful. It's inspiring. It's high performing. It's interesting. It's different. It's creative. It's what I want an indie brand to give me for Halloween. It's not too on the nose. It definitely will work year round. They do such a good job, and I think this palette is absolutely an example of that. I would love to know what you think about this collection. Are you interested? Which candle sounds more like your style? Which one of my eye looks do you like the best? Do you want to see more looks from this palette? I always love to hear what you think about things too, so make sure you leave all your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Oh boy, it's spooky season. Oh my gosh, I am a beautiful swamp queen. Oh, so sparkly. Yes. Wowie. Wowie, wowie. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Let's do the other side now. But luckily, if it's a failure, it will be recorded on film for me to revisit later. This is so cool. I love their design work. And I know right now this will just be at the end because we're going to have a little talk about AI. And I know this is a hot button issue for a lot of people. And I actually am not really a big fan of AI generated artwork. And I know for a fact that this is not AI artwork. Fantasy Cosmetica does not use AI artwork. I am very familiar with their graphic designer because we worked incredibly closely on the Enchanted Autumn packaging. Nowadays, it's so hard to tell what is what. And I just want to reassure you, this is not AI artwork. This is made in-house by their dedicated graphic designer who is incredibly talented and detail-oriented and does really beautiful, interesting, creative work and is a person. Just putting that out there. I know for a fact. I have spoken to them, I have met them, I have seen them, I have seen their work. This is made by a person and not a computer. I mean, probably made on a computer by a person. Just wanted to put that out there. My cup glows in the dark because I'm an adult and I am amused by those things. I put on my spooky trees earrings because I thought it would kind of go with the vibes of this palette. Spooky, dark and spooky. Oh my gosh, I'm so sparkly. Moss Girl Summer. Finally, it doesn't feel like summer here now. It finally is starting to feel like fall. It was 40 something degrees this morning when I woke up. I was like, yes. Give me that fall weather. I'm sick of it being 90 degrees and humid. What was I talking about? I'm on a rambly mode today. Huh? Whew. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit intimidated by this color, which means I probably need to use it the next time I use this palette. I find that just facing those shades head on that I'm intimidated by kind of takes the power away, takes the fear away. I might have to square up with this one. It's definitely easy for me to pop it on the inner corner. Let's just try it. Let's just do it. Let's do it now. Let's get it over with. Look, now I used it. Oh, it looks so good right there. Yeah. What? Okay, I love it. Should we do a matte neon brow bone highlight? Get out of town. We're gonna do it. I'm not scared. I'm not scared to do it. I'll do it. I'll try just about anything. I definitely won't try something that like actively harms someone though. I'm not gonna do that. But I don't think a neon brow bone highlight ever hurt anyone. Did it? Did it? No. Okay. Love it. Do I feel like I needed it for the look? Probably not. Probably would have been fine without it. But I'm not mad at it. I think it looks good. See? I knew I could do it. Genuinely, I don't know sometimes about myself. Mama. All right. Oh, excuse you. It's about time for a little snack. A little snacky snack. I have an avocado that should be perfect to eat today. You know, when you get an avocado and it's just not quite ready and you gotta wait for the perfect day, and if you let that day pass, I don't know about you, I'll speak for myself. If I let that day pass and I've been waiting for that avocado and then I miss the day to eat it, I get pretty mad at myself. But today's the day. I'm gonna eat my avocado. I'm so excited. It's gonna be so good. That's not all I'm gonna have. I have some roasted chickpeas that are left over from dinner. And I think I'm gonna make like a little salad with some avocado and some roasted chickpeas and some other good veggies and greens and stuff. That sounds so good to me. You know you're old when you're like, a salad would hit the spot. Maybe not. Maybe there are lots of young, vibrant people out there thriving with their salads, but that was never me. This is a new development. This is a 30s development, loving salads. Thinking about a salad was not something I ever did when I was in my teens and 20s. Never happened. I would think about like French fries. I still think about French fries. French fries and a salad. I'm listening. Okay, so I've been rambling and weird for long enough. Thanks so much for sticking around to the end if you watched to this part. I appreciate you. Just, remember to go out there and just be nice to people today. And if you don't have it in you to be nice, I understand that. Sometimes I don't have it in me to be nice, and then I just, and that's okay too. That's valid too. Wow, that inner corner honestly looks so good. I wish I would have done that in the tutorial. Ugh. Live and learn. Anyway, I'm supposed to be signing off. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. You are cool. You're as cool as a Halloween release, at least, if not cooler. And I love your face, and I'll see you soon. Okay, bye.